to HCS Connects. I'm Kelly Worrell with Hampton City Schools. Today we've got the great opportunity to talk about preschool registration. So with us we have Heather Gu, the coordinator of early childhood education. So welcome to HCS Connects.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back.
And I'm glad you said back, because I was going to say this is not your first time here, as actually it's only been about 6-7 months since we first saw you, and you were new to Moton, and we were talking about like all the things you were excited for the year. But the year's quickly coming to a close.
Very quickly.
Very quickly, and now it's time to register our preschool students for next school year. So that's really why we have you here, to talk about what is that process. So tell us about preschool registration.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be with you again today. We will be starting our actual appointments on April 11th. In order to register for pre-K for the 22-23 school year, your child needs to have turned 4 before September 30th of 2022.
Okay, so that means I could have a 3-year-old right now, and as long as they're 4, by September 30th, after the summer, I can register for preschool.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. We have 652 slots this year.
Okay.
So we are excited to welcome and to have every single slot filled. So you'll register for pre-K at Moton. You'll give us a call at Moton Early Childhood Center. We'll schedule an appointment for you, and you'll come in on your scheduled date and bring a birth certificate for the child and proof of residency. So either a lease, a mortgage, or a notarized affidavit of residency.
So you said that they're going to register at Moton, but they need to call ahead of time to make an appointment, correct?
Yes, please.
And Moton is not the only location in Hampton City Schools that offers pre-K. How many pre-K sites do we have?
We have 8 total. So we have Andrews, Phoenix, Moton, Smith, Langley, Patrick, Jackson, and Aberdeen currently.
And if I have a rising pre-K student, I still come to Moton though to register them for pre-K, even if they're going to go to one of those other sites other than Moton. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They'll come to Moton. You're going to register at Moton. And then through the summer, we will determine eligibility, and we will notify you of the school that you actually are placed at.
So you talk about eligibility. What is eligibility for registration?
For our pre-K VPI program, you'll need an income eligibility as one. That's our major way that we identify children.
Okay.
And then we also have a local criteria where there's a checklist of multiple different things. So if you don't meet the income criteria, you could qualify off of one of the other local criteria pieces.
Okay, so it's not just on income. Still come, register, go through that registration process, because we do have some local criteria. If I've got that current 4-year-old or going to be 4 before September 30th, I could register them for Hampton City Schools, the pre-K program.
Absolutely. There are other ways for us to determine eligibility. So there are multiple ways that you can enter the pre-K program.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
That's like a tongue twister. All these poor pre-K kids, they come in, I think hopefully they can identify themselves. We're having such a hard time today. So 8 sites, again, you've got Moton, you've got the other 7, and you said we're going to serve over 600 students this year. Is that an increase from past school years?
It is. It's an increase of about 25 students from what we had last year.
Okay.
And we were currently full this year.
Oh, wow.
So,
and I know coming off the pandemic, or starting still this school year in pandemic mode, because it was the first time everybody was pretty much coming back in person. Some families still chose virtual, but everybody pretty much was coming back in person to really see what those numbers were going to be after so many of our little ones were home last year. So we filled every spot this year.
we did.
Wow, that's impressive. And you know, you talk about classrooms. What's a typical size of a pre-K classroom? How many students?
We cannot go over 20.
Okay.
As part of our guidelines, 20 is the max for all of our rooms.
And how many adults in the room with them?
There are 2 adults per room. They're full-time adults, so they are there the entire day with the students. Our inclusion classrooms do have 4 adults.
Oh, wow. So you've got a teacher, instructional aide, can't go over 20. How many, now I know Moton obviously has multiple classes. About how many classes at Moton Early Childhood Center?
We have 14. We currently serve 256 students at Moton.
So you have 14 classes in Moton, and then what about the other 7 pre-K locations?
Andrews and Phoenix both have 5.
Okay.
Every other site has 2.
So you have the most little ones in your building. And what do they learn in pre-K? I mean, what is the benefits of a parent enrolling their child in preschool?
So one of our biggest pushes in our pre-K program is helping students understand the social, emotional needs of attending school. So getting them used to routines, getting them used to sharing, getting them used to doing work independently. So our biggest push is for our social emotional needs with our students and getting them ready for kindergarten. Along those lines, we also have an academic rigor that we do where kids will start to learn their alphabet, the sounds, and then by the end of the year, they're ready to start putting them together for basic sight words, basic CVC words. They're writing their name. They have learned to write sentences in some aspects. We do differentiate the same way that kindergarten through 12 does. So our students learn and grow on their own pace.
And this is your first year at Moton. So what have you been the most pleasantly surprised about?
I think that I've been the most pleasantly surprised at how far the kids grow. They start at the beginning of the year and they don't know, they can say the alphabet song, but they can't point to the letter C. And so watching them at this point in the year, writing their names, we have some classes where they go over the letters in everyone's name and the sounds that each letter makes every morning. So now we have kids who can spell other children's names and write their names as well. So watching them find the joy in learning has been by far the best part of this job so far.
So you would say a typical 4-year-old, just how quickly they learn and they grow has just been the biggest surprise.
Absolutely. And everybody says that they're sponges, but until you actually witness them soak it all in, it's been awe-inspiring at times.
That's so exciting. And so many, out of the mouths of babes and the different things you probably see and hear every day. I can't even imagine your world on a daily basis, how much fun it would be as well, being with 4 and 5-year-olds, because they could turn 5 after, before September 30th, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So again, you're talking pre-K, it's registration time. Where would they call to set up that appointment?
They would call Moton, and our telephone number is 727-1061.
Okay, so they call Moton, they schedule an appointment, they come in, they have all of the proof of identification they need, they go and they do that registration process. You said it starts April 11th, and then they just kind of hold tight and they find out July, August timeframe as far as which location they will be?
Yes.
Okay, and again, regardless of any of the 8 sites, they register at Moton.
Yes.
And then what about kindergarten registration though? Because I know we're going to start marketing kindergarten registration for our current pre-K students, as well as students or actually children in Hampton that may not have gone to the pre-K program but now are entering kindergarten. What does that look like?
So for kindergarten registration, you'll go to your zone school, and you can find your zone school on the website, Hampton City Schools website. And you'll actually get in contact with them to make that appointment. You'll have to bring the same information, photo ID, birth certificate, proof of residency. And then your zone school will do the registration there in the office.
So perfect. So both registrations starting in April. But again, and I keep reiterating, all the pre-K registrations will call Moton and set up those appointments there. But if I am a rising kindergarten student, I would go to my zone school. And I believe we have 18 schools in Hampton City Schools that are elementary. Plus, we've got Andrews and Phoenix, our pre-K through grades 8. So lots of different schools that they could be attending depending on where they live within the city.
Absolutely. And all of our pre-K students will receive a packet for kindergarten that has their zone school on it and all of the paperwork that they'll need to register successfully at their zone school.
So you're talking this year's pre-K that are currently
Yes.
in a program. They'll get a packet that they'll get sent home so that their parents know what is their zone school and what they need to do.
Absolutely.
So do you think our pre-K students are ready for kindergarten?
I do. I think that our teachers have done an amazing job. Hampton City Schools has high expectations for all of their students, and that includes our pre-K program. Our kids are going to be more than ready for kindergarten, and they have really had a great foundation this year.
That's great. I mean, especially because I said, we've been dealing with a pandemic for 2 years now. And so these students, to be back in the classroom with the teachers, the instructional aides, the administrators, the nurses, just that family support to help them grow as they're little sponges soaking it all in. So is there anything else that you would like to finish with as we wrap up today?
No, I just would like to encourage people to come out quickly and register. Once those slots are gone, we do have a wait list. But we are excited to welcome new families into Hampton City Schools.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, is that there are a certain number of spots. We filled up this year, so it is a first come, first serve. It is not a lottery system.
It's based on eligibility first.
Okay.
There is a tiering criteria based on the local criteria and the income, and then we do have 15% that we keep for other rankings.
So, but again, come now, starting April 11th, or they can call now to make an appointment.
Absolutely.
But, come now. Don't wait until August, because if we have a spot, great. But if we don't, then, sadly, those spots, we don't have but more than 650, you said. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you mentioned that piece, because we want to make sure that parents are starting to register now, parents and guardians.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here today and explaining that whole process. I would love to say that I can't wait to register a preschooler, but my kids are much older. But good luck to the registration process. I can't wait to see all our little new faces next year.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us share the process.
And thank you for joining us on HCS Connects. And remember, it's easy to stay connected.